Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the webinar. I hope everyone's doing great today. So, excited about the upcoming board examinations? Very nice. All right, so we have gathered here today. We'll be discussing about your strategy for the board examinations. I'll be discussing the subject science with you. All right, so the first question that comes to my mind is, why should you appear for board examinations, right? So believe me, this is going to be the first milestone that will shape your career and help you to analyze your abilities. That is, it will help you to analyze your strengths, your weaknesses. So after class 10th, you're going to pursue your higher studies. Which subject are you going to choose? Who's going to tell you? It is you who has to analyze, who has to understand whether you should go for science, whether you should go for commerce, whether you should go for arts and humanities, right? So treat board examinations just as a test to tell you what should you do for the rest of your life. Now, I believe all of you must have gone for numerous inter-school competitions and brought laurels for your school, made your parents proud. So just treat this national level board examination as a competition. You are prepared well. You have done very good for the past year. Just deliver your best. Go do your best in the examination, right? Now, what should be the preparation strategy? So, as it goes in life, there are 3 simple steps: plan, act, and deliver. So, plan your preparation, analyze your weak and strong subjects, make a proper timetable, give more space to your weak subjects. So, let's say you are good in chemistry, but you're not good in biology. Do not ignore the subject, right? You cannot ignore it. Just give more time to it, practice more questions, write down notes, just so that you understand whatever concepts are given in NCERT, whatever questions are going to come in your exam, right? Now, while you study, it's very important that you concentrate. So concentration is the key to success. You might have heard about it. So let's say you study for an hour, take a 10 minutes break. Now, what do you do in the break? Do not waste your time watching, movies or watching television or going onto the internet. Use your break time very wisely. Okay, what do? Go for a walk, go to the park, play with your siblings, talk to your parents, talk to your friends. Next is, do not forget to give enough space for your sleep. Most of the students, what they do is they study for the entire day, they study for the entire night, but they ignore their sleep. You need a proper sleep. Your body needs a proper sleep. 6 to 8 hours of sleep is important. After this, when you're freshened up, plan your day accordingly and just follow your timetable. How do you act? So planning phase is done. How do you act on it? You have to follow your timetable very, very ardently. Do not, come what may, you have to follow your timetable. So the first and foremost thing is complete the whole syllabus first. So when you are done with the syllabus, you must have been able to identify your weak areas and then practice those areas more. Okay, so if let's say it's the numerical part of physics, practice numericals, right? There is nothing that's impossible in class 10th, nothing that's impossible in science. Each and every one of you can do it. You have to maintain a balance between your tough and easy topics in each and every subject. That's physics, chemistry, and biology. Just maintain a balance, okay? Practice tough questions, nobody's stopping you, but also practice the easy concepts, right? Now, when you are done with the whole syllabus, you have learned the definitions, the concepts, and you think now you're ready for the examination. Do not just step into the examination hall, right? Before that, while you appear on the day of the examination, you should have done at least 3 to 4 sample papers. Now, why should you do some sample papers before you go into the test? This is going to help you to analyze how much time you are taking for completing one question, right? All right, just one thing. Vijay thinks that science is tougher. All right, you're perfect in physics and you're good at chemistry, but weak in biology. Okay, all right. How to solve your problem of biology? Okay, so Vijay, I believe you must be thinking that biology is a subject which involves a lot of rote learning, right? Do not think it like that. Just As we move further, I'm going to discuss further topics. Okay, do not mug up the concepts. Even biology involves understanding of the concepts, right? Simple understanding of the concepts. Okay, so what you can do is at the last moment, make some important points. Okay, just jot down important points from each topics that you have in biology. Practice them, write them down. That will help you in remembering the concepts. Make sure you know all the diagrams, all the labelings properly, and then just go through a list of questions. Go through the previous year questions. Go through questions we'll be sharing with you. We have top 100 questions and solutions on this URL that's mentioned to you, meritnation.com/FB live. Just sign up there and you'll get a list of questions. All right. Yeah, so the last point, while you are solving your sample papers, how long should you take? So just enclose yourself in a closed room, sit there, just time yourself. You have to solve the paper. Let's say you solve the first paper in 3 hours. Make sure you solve the next paper in 2.5 hours. So when you will be appearing for your board exam, final board exam, make sure to solve the paper in 2.5 hours so that you have that extra half hour to revise whatever you have written, whatever answers you have written in your paper, and also to underline, to highlight important concepts, okay, important points in your answers. Next is to deliver. So deliver is basically what will happen at the time of your exam. First is remain positive about your preparations. Do not be nervous, stay confident. You have worked very hard for the whole entire year and you're going to do your best. Don't worry about it. Next is, as soon as the examiner gives you the question paper, read it thoroughly. Make sure there are all the pages, all the set of pages in your question paper. There is no missing paper. Fill in your answer sheet, fill in your roll number very, very carefully. Next is, let's say you do not know the answer to a particular question. Do not spend more time on it. Do not waste your time there. Move on to the next question. But for how many questions can you do it? Never jumble up the series of the answers, right? So let's say if you start from the first question, second question, third question, but let's say you don't know the fourth question, move on to the fifth one and come back to the fourth question later. All right. Next is write all the answers in very, very precise manner and in accordance with the allotted marks. Let's say it's a first 1 mark question. Okay. Now, how much do you write? And it's asking you for a definition. Just give the definition, give an example, and that's enough. Maybe you might be knowing about a diagram for that particular question. Do not draw it. Understand, it's a 1 mark question. It involves only it demands only 2 minutes of your time to answer that question, maximum 2 minutes. All right. And coming to a 2 mark question, if it's a definition, write down the proper definition, give one sentence of what your understanding is out of the definition, give proper examples, and make diagrams, neat and labeled diagrams wherever you can. Okay. Now, how do you draw a diagram? Do you use a pen? No. Always use a pencil. Always carry extra pens, extra pencil, sharpener, your eraser. So everything that you need in a paper, carry it yourself. Okay. So when you draw a diagram, especially in biology, in physics, when you draw a diagram, draw it with a pencil, label the parts carefully, all the parts, and give a title to your diagram. Whatever you have drawn, give a title. Okay. Next is last point, half an hour that we had kept. Do not forget to revise the paper. Okay. Maybe you feel you're confident enough that you've written everything correctly. So there's a chance of human error, right? So do not forget to revise the paper. No matter how confident you are, you have to revise the paper. All right. Okay. So everyone log on to meritnation.com FB live. We have prepared a list of top 100 questions as well as their solutions for your board examinations for all the 3 subjects, maths, science, and social studies. Now, how will what's the pattern of question paper that will come to you? Let's look at that. So there will be a total of 27 questions distributed into 2 sections, A and B. Remember, all the questions are compulsory. Okay, do not leave any question. All the questions are compulsory. However, there are internal choices that I'll just talk about. So in section A, there will be 2 questions carrying 1 mark each. All right, 3 questions carrying 2 marks each. See, 2 questions with 1 mark each, 3 questions carrying 2 marks each, 10 questions for 3 marks, and 6 questions that will be of 5 marks. Now, while you write your answers, why did I tell you to write your answer in a series? So that you do not forget. You do not forget to answer any question. All right. And when you have answered the question, when you think from your side the answer is complete, just make a small tick on the question paper. That will tell you that, yes, I've done this question. I'll just revise it in the end. Right? Now, internal choices. Talking about internal choices, since the last year, this has been very good and it's in your favor. 3 questions of 3 marks will have internal choices. Choices will also be there in 2 questions of 5 marks each and 1 question of 2 marks. All right, so there are a lot of choices. Even if you do not know the concept, you can always look for the alternate choice, right? While I hope you will be knowing both the options, right? Next is there will be one value-based question. So how do you answer a value-based question of 3 marks? So just treat yourself as an individual of the society, right? All of you are very well-mannered and you have been brought up in an Indian society. Just gather up all your values and answer that question based on your individuality, right? Very nice. In section B, now this was section A. In section B, there will be 6 descriptive questions based on practical skills, right? There will be descriptive questions. I'm reminding you again, it's not a multiple choice questions that used to come before. It's a type of descriptive questions, all right? Short answer questions, and you'll be able to do it. No, Vijay, it does not depend on the mood of the evaluator. Let's see. This is the Marx distribution pattern. This is a very good timing. Okay, so biology is about 35%. Physics is 33.8, like approximately 34%. Chemistry is 31%. While Vijay, you must understand that it's not this is not an exact, consideration. So maybe biology will vary between 34.5 to 35%. Physics will be 32 to 33%. But all in all, you can see roughly we have almost equal weightage to each and every subject. So that's why I am, emphasizing you cannot leave any of these subjects, right? Even if you're not good at it, practice more. Nothing is impossible. You will be able to do it. Okay, you can post your queries to us. We are there to answer you. Okay, so the course structure and your individual marks that each unit carry, let's look at that. So the first unit is chemical substances, their nature and their behavior. Chapters which are included are chemical reactions and equations, acid, bases and salts, metals and non-metals, carbon and its compounds, periodic classification of elements. So this whole unit carries 25 marks, right? So this is a lot. It carries 25 marks out of your total of 80. Next is world of living. So it's life processes, control and coordination, how do organisms reproduce, heredity and evaluation, major portion of biology. It carries 23 marks. Next is natural phenomena, which is light, which involves reflection and refraction, the human eye and the colorful world, which is for 12 marks. Effects of current is the next unit that we have. It includes the chapters electricity and magnetic effects of current. That's 13 marks for you there. Natural resources, it's this, sources of energy, our environment, management of natural resources. It carries 7 marks. Again, it carries 7 marks, but do not ignore it, right? Because if you just remember the concepts, these are the simplest chapters, I would say, from my side. These are the easiest chapters. These are the most scoring chapters that you will have. Just read them, read your NCERT, go through the top 100 questions and go through the previous year questions and you'll be able to do it. Yes, John, it's very much important that you have to, take up sample papers, the model test papers that we have. But before you attempt a model test paper, make sure you are thorough with all the concepts of science, physics, chemistry, and biology. Then sit down and make a 3-hour, set up an alarm for 3 hours and just try the sample paper. So as I told you earlier also, you have to attempt at least 3 to 4 sample papers. All right, at least 3 to 4 sample papers. Okay, Rahul. All right, you know everything. You are doing very good. Okay, but you can't score good. All right. See, we know everything, but the last point that I told you, how you deliver is it's of utmost importance there. right? So if you write down your answers in a shabby manner, or you make a lot of cuttings in your exam answer sheet, then it's going to put off the examiner, the evaluator, right? So when you answer, make sure, I mean, three things you need to remember. Look at how much marks the question is carrying. Okay. Be to the point in your answer. Okay. Try to put in as much information as it is required, as it is asked in the question. Okay. And be to the point. Last is underline the important concepts. Okay. If you highlight the important concepts, it actually, apart from just making the answer sheet beautiful and very neat and tidy, it also expresses a feeling of confidence in you. It shows that you have confidence. Yes, this is my answer, I have underlined it, please check it, right? So just while you're answering the question, remember these points, and I'm sure you'll get your marks. Little too depth about the subject. Okay, Soumya, see, let's say there is a question and you delve very much deeper into the question. Okay, that's, I mean, marks will not be cut for it. You will get your marks, but see, it depends on the evaluator. If the evaluator is reading all your answers, he's going to read all your answers line by line, then yes, you get your marks. But an evaluator also looks for, as I said, the important concepts. If these concepts are there, if these points are there in your answer, you are definitely going to get marks. But you tell me, if you're understanding, if you're feeling that you're delving very much deeper into the subject, into the question, then you're wasting your time, right? You can very well adjust your time or give your time to another question that you may not be knowing the answer to, or you may be confused in. Tension during exams. All right, that's how I said. Sit for 1 hour, study for 1 hour, concentrate entirely on the subject that you're studying, then take a 10 to 15 minutes break to get rid of tension. Finally, you need to get a good hour's sleep. All right. And personally speaking, do not be very competitive in nature. Just do your best, right? Do not compare yourself with your friend. Do not compare yourself with your neighbor's son or daughter. Do not compare yourself with your siblings. You are an individual. Just prepare yourself well, and whatever happens, you are going to get good marks, right? Yes, coming back to the course structure. So we have a total of, the total marks for the examination for the question paper would be 80. 20 marks would be taken from your internal assessment, from your FAs that have been, you have given in your school, or as well as how you maintain your notebooks and how is your conduct in class. So that's a total of 100 marks for science. Typology of questions. Now, what do the questions demand? Please pay attention to this one. What do the questions demand from you? So just see, approximately 30% of the paper is based on understanding of the concepts. So Vijay, like you said, you are not able to mug up the concepts. So it's not of biology, it's not required to mug up. You need to understand the concepts. Okay, you need to understand the concepts. Remembering, see, it's how much? It's just 12.5%. And if you understand, I'm very well sure, I'm dead sure that you'll be able to remember the concepts. Okay, 22% is application based. So while you have understood the question, the concept, how you apply it in the real world. Okay, HOTS, high order thinking skills, which required for some questions. We have CBSE HOTS, we have HOTS for NCRT. You can log on to Meritnation site. Should the handwriting be beautiful and extraordinary, or is it okay if the handwriting is understandable? See, handwriting should be only understandable. Presentation should be perfect. Okay, no matter how you write, you have to write in a legitimate handwriting that the examiner can read. But however you write, see, write an answer, leave a space. Write another answer, leave a space. When let's say we have multiple choice questions, so there are, let's say, 3 options in a question, A, B, C. So you have answered the A part, clearly write which question number you are answering, which option number you are answering. So just make it neat and tidy. Okay. All right. Ritika, if you do not know a question, so let's say it's not striking what would be the correct answer to that question or how you solve the numerical, leave some space for it. If you know how much space it's going to take, if you have an idea about that, leave the space. If you do not have the idea, so you can do it in maximum 1 or 2 questions, that you do it in the end. All right. Is that clear? Or do not make calculation mistakes. Oh, calculation mistakes. You make calculation mistakes only when you have not practiced properly. Okay, practice makes a man, a woman perfect. So when you have practiced perfectly all the numericals, I'm sure you'll not make any calculation mistake. The next thing is you make silly mistakes when you are tensed while writing the exam. That's what I'm emphasizing again. Do not be tensed. It's you who are giving the paper, it's you who are competing, right? And it's going to be your own marks only. You're going to do well. Just have confidence in you. In those okay, I'm going to talk about that, Soumya. Just give me some time. I'll tell you how to prepare in those preparatory leaves. Okay. All right. So we have practical based questions and inferential and evaluation based questions. So that's right there. Now some important topics and tips that you might be waiting for in physics, chemistry, and biology. Let's go through them. So let's start with physics. First chapter that we are going to consider is light, reflection, and refraction. So what's important in this chapter is image formation by spherical mirrors and lenses. You need to be thorough with your ray diagrams. Okay, you need to know what kind of image is formed if I keep the object at focus or at basically different points from the mirror or from the lens. Okay, you need to be thorough with the properties of real and inverted images. Next is there are numericals in this chapter. I believe some of you may be getting confused in these numericals. Just practice the numericals. So how do you practice the numericals? Pick up your NCERT, go through the in-text questions, go through the examples, practice the exercise questions that are given at the back of your NCERT, as well as whatever questions have come in the past. Practice all those questions. And yes, while you are practicing those questions, do not use a calculator. Even if you're sitting at your home, do not use a calculator. Always calculate. Even if it's 2 into 4 equal to 8, just do it yourself. Okay. While this Okay, next is numericals on Snell's law and refractive index. So that's important for you. Jyoti says NCRT is enough. See, NCRT is your baseline. Okay, if so, what does NCRT tell you? It's going to limit the concepts that are going to come in your examination. Now, the next thing that NCRT tells you is just if you read between the lines. So as I told you, most of the questions will be based on your understanding of the concepts. Right. If I tell you the atomic number of carbon is 6, now what do I infer from this? What do I understand that the atomic number of carbon is 6? So we need to understand that there are 6 protons, there are 6 electrons in carbon. So that's how you need to read between the lines in NCERT. Okay. And yes. Next is human eye and colorful world. Human eye and its defects. You need to go through them. We have 3 defects: myopia, hypermetropia, and presbyopia. Refraction through prism. There's a beautiful diagram there. Go through it. And you should know all the labelings there. Okay. Rainbow formation, advanced sunrise and delayed sunset. So you have diagrams as well as theory for this. Make sure you are thorough with these answers. You are ready with these answers. And let's say a question comes, explain why there is an advanced sunrise. So you should not waste your time thinking, okay, why, what was it, what was written in the book. You should be thorough with these questions. Okay, these are very, very important ones. All right. In chemistry, there are plenty of activities in NCERT. So plenty of equations about experiment. Is there a trick to remember equations? Okay. Yes, Vijay, there is absolutely tricks to remember the equations. The trick is to understand them. How you understand them? So if carbon, reacts with oxygen, what's it going to give me? It can give me CO2. If there is sufficient supply of oxygen, it's going to give us CO2. So first and foremost thing is you should remember the atomic number of elements. So the elements with atomic number 1 to 20 by heart, right? You should know their electronic configuration, and then just by crisscross method, you'll be able to gather the compound that will be formed. Okay, so that's for your equations. Regarding your activities, all the activities that are mentioned in NCERT, right? They are important. You need to go through them. You need to remember them, as well as the Meritnation, the top 100 questions that we have given you. They list which activities are important. So please go through them. All right. 1 mark questions you have to answer not in words, in lines. Okay, but let's say it's one word answer only. Then also just write down the statement of the question. Okay, let's say again, what's the atomic number of carbon? The atomic number of carbon is 6. Okay, you have to write down this one. Just don't write 6. That's going to give a very bad impression. All right, so just invest your time when you're writing your answers. So that's what I'm saying. While you attempt your sample papers, write down the answers as you will write in your final examination. Do that. Okay, next is electricity. In electricity, Ohm's law and the numericals are very, very important. The factors that affect resistance of a conductor, very important. They have been asked very frequently in your board examinations. The series and parallel combination of resistances, the numericals based on them, their derivations is very, very, again, important. All right. Sorry. Entire lab manual. Okay, we are getting 6 questions and there are 17 experiments. Okay. See, Prasanna, there are 17 experiments. You must have done those experiments in your laboratories in school, right? So just go through the procedure, go through the precautions, and go through the viva voce questions. All right. So that's main for attempting the questions based on practical knowledge. So do not read the entire lab manual, which equipments are involved, etc., etc. You should know what's the name of the equipments, what are we doing in the experiment, what's the underlying principle of the experiment. Okay. Next is magnetic effects of electric current. So there is AC generator, DC motor, its functioning is very, very important. Domestic electrical circuits, that's including fuse and your household circuits. Electromagnetic current, that's again very important. In sources of energy, we have characteristics of fuel. Okay, go through them. Expect a question from this topic. Biomass and solar cooker, that's your renewable forms of energy. That's again very important. We are first time giving the board. It carries 80%, so paper should be easy because it has majority of percentage. Okay, see, each student that appears for a board examination gives the board examination for the first time, and you're going to give it only once in class 10th, right? Then again when you come to class 12th. So the paper, see, do not expect that the paper will be tough, the paper will be easy. If you are prepared, I believe every question paper will be easy for you. Okay, so just hope for the best and do your best in the examination. So physics we are done with. Next we come to the important topics that you need to cover for chemistry. So the first chapter is chemical reactions and equations. You should know how to balance the chemical reactions. Simple hit and trial method. You should be able to do it very well in the examination. The types of reactions that we have taught you: decomposition reaction, displacement reaction, redox reaction. Redox is reduction and oxidation. So you should be able to understand which is the reducing agent, which is the species getting reduced, or which is the oxidizing agent, right? Next is acids, bases, and salts chapter. So this chapter, actually, first you need to know what are acids, what are bases, what are salts, right? What are those properties? Next is reactions of acid and bases with metals. This is very, very important. So if you look at the top 100 questions, if you go through these questions, you will see how in previous years questions have been asked and what sort of questions can be expected in this year. All right. So make sure you go through it. Neutralization reactions. Next is chemicals from common salt, baking soda, there is bleaching powder, there's washing soda, right? Then the concept of water of crystallization. To revise during exams according to CBSE date sheet. Okay, yes, I'm going to come to it. Just Satya, just wait for a little while. Next is metals and non-metals. Reactivity series is important. You should know the reactivity series, which metal can displace or replace another metal from its salt solution. The extraction of metals and the refining is very, very important. All the concepts, again, very important. Carbon and its compounds. Expect more questions from these last 2 chapters, carbon and its compounds and periodic classification. In carbon and its compounds, nomenclature is very, very important. You should know which functional groups are present. You should know what are the properties of those functional groups, right? Then there is formation and properties of ethanol and ethanoic acid that you should know. Cleansing action of soaps and detergents. So that's a very favorite question of all the examiners these days. Next is periodic classification of elements. So Mendeleev's and modern periodic table. What's the modern periodic law? What are the drawbacks of Mendeleev's periodic table? You should be aware of all of this. Next is the trends in the modern periodic table. So that should be on your tips. Yes. How to get full marks in science? Ritika, I've been trying to tell you the same thing only. Revise these concepts, these important topics that I've told you. By now, I believe you must be prepared with science. But yes, be thorough with these concepts specifically. Practice more and more questions. Again, you might have practiced a question, let's say, in your you must have attempted that question in your FA, or let's say while doing your homework. Do not ignore that question. Write down that question again, okay, and practice as many sample papers, as many model test papers as you can, right? Next is there any step to nomenclature in carbon and its compounds? Yes, there is a step. You need to remember the functional groups that are there. So you need to remember, or you need to know what are alkanes, what's the general formula for alkenes, for alkynes, right? You need to know alcohols, ketones, carboxylic acids, aldehydes, and finally a short form that's ester, right? So you need to understand that. Sanskar, should we draw diagrams? Yes, you need to. I'll very well answer. Yes, Sanskar, you need to draw diagrams wherever you can. Specifically, you need to draw diagrams in biology. In physics, you will draw diagrams. I have a list of diagrams here. So for ray diagrams, for example, in physics, you need to draw the diagrams. All right, diagrams are necessary. And Sanskar, remember to draw the diagrams with a pencil, right? You are not able to concentrate on study. Okay, Rahul? That's okay. For concentration, what you can do is, mainly what I understand is, why don't I mean this why do the students say they're not able to concentrate? It's because they're not understanding the concepts, right? So if you open your NCRT and you see, okay, I'm not understanding, I'm reading the line but I'm not understanding, just sit, take the help of your teachers, okay, take the help of your parents, help them, I mean ask them to help you understand the concepts, and you'll be able to do it, okay. Also, do not switch on music while you are studying. That's, I've seen a lot of students do so. Do not listen to music while you're studying, just concentrate, okay. And when you are done, so just study for 50 minutes, Rahul. In the beginning, just study for 50 minutes, take a 10-hour break, a 10 minutes break, then again study for 50 minutes, take a 10 minutes break. All right. Next is important concepts for biology. In the chapter life processes, you will look at photosynthesis, the reaction of photosynthesis, the necessary conditions for photosynthesis. Now in NCRT, you have specific activities related to the process of photosynthesis. Remember to do those activities, okay? Remember those activities. Next is digestion in human. So that's again very important. The role of the enzymes, the role of each and every organ, it's important. Aerobic and anaerobic respiration, human heart and double circulation. So why is it called double circulation? So you should know the answer. Transport in plants, very, very important. Next chapter is control and coordination, human brain and its components. It's very, very important. Okay, it's very, very frequently asked. Reflex action, human endocrine system, very important. So which gland is secreting which hormone? You should be knowing it. All right. So these two chapters that are written on the slide now, how do organisms reproduce and heredity and evolution? Mark my words, these are the most important chapters of biology. All right. Focus on these chapters. You have studied them in your second term. Just do not forget the concepts. So what do you have in reproduction chapter? Modes of asexual reproduction, fertilization in plants and post-fertilization changes, the human reproductive system, the male reproductive system, as well as a female reproductive system. So expect a question from this. Next, Sanskar, you will need to draw the diagram there. Okay. Fertilization and embryo development, it's very, very important. Next is contraceptive methods. So there's population explosion. There can be a value-based question from this. There can be a normal, conceptual question from this. So make sure you know the concepts. Next is heredity and evolution. The Mendel's law of inheritance. This should be on your tips. Sex determination in humans. very well required. So if it's a 1 mark question, what's the probability that the child born would be male? So you can answer it in 1 word. Just write 1 sentence, copy the sentence of the question, and give your answer. But if it's a 2 mark question or a 3 mark question, make sure you draw the cross the F1 generation, the gamete formation, everything you need to draw there. All right. Next is the acquired and inherited traits. You should know the difference. You should know which traits are acquired, which traits are inherited. That's very important. Speciation and its mechanisms. So there are different mechanisms that you've studied in NCERT, in your school, okay, in your classes. Make sure you know them. Make sure you know the difference between them and the characteristics of each and every mechanism. Last is evidences of evolution. So right there you have your homologous organs, your analogous organs. Make sure you know the difference between the two. Do not get confused when you are writing down your answer in the final paper. All right. And for each one of them, homologous organs as well as your analogous organs, make sure you know at least 5 examples. Okay, at least 5 examples. Next is our environment. So the 10% law of energy transfer carries weightage. It's important. Biomagnification, ozone layer, its significance and depletion. So there's a value-based question that can be formed from this entire chapter. Next is management of natural resources. Why do we need to manage natural resources? That's very important. Importance of forests and their conservation, dams, their advantages as well as their disadvantages, and water harvesting systems. So these are some concepts that I've told you. You have to particularly do these concepts, right? Very, very particularly. You cannot go to the or appear for your examination without preparing these concepts. All right. So make sure you know all the concepts and then you enter the examination hall. Okay, which are the important diagrams? In biology, you have the human alimentary canal, you have the structure of human heart, the structure of a nephron, the structure of human brain, fertilization process in flowers, right? Human male and female reproductive systems. So as I've told you, how will you draw the diagrams? Draw with a pencil, make a neat, well-labeled diagram, all right? A beautiful diagram. Now, somebody may ask me, yes, I'm not good in making drawings, right? But make the drawing readable, okay? Just label all the parts. Labeling is what is required, and just don't make any random diagrams, all right? So diagrams should be in perfect shape with proper labeling. Last thing that you need to remember is you need to pick up a title. You need to write down a title for your diagram. Say you are drawing the human male reproductive system, so write down there in the at the bottom of the diagram, human male reproductive system, underline it, and your work is done. In physics, we have ray diagrams for spherical mirrors and lenses. We have ray diagrams for correction of eye defects, as I've told you. AC generator, DC motor, sorry. We have your circuit diagrams there. In the biogas plant and solar cooker also, you can draw your diagrams. Okay, so if the question says explain the functioning of a solar cooker, you can draw a diagram there. In chemistry, we have less diagrams. The diagram that is there is for electrolysis of water. Okay, what happens when electricity is passed through water, and the Lewis dot structures, right? So Lewis dot structure is a component of carbon and its compounds, right? Now, keys to master the subject. How do you master the subject of science? Understand, learning science is fun. Do not spoil it by mugging up. Okay, so in my childhood, as somebody asked me, I used to enjoy science. All right, I did not mug up the concepts. When I used to enjoy science, then the concepts automatically I was able to remember them. So I hope you will be able to do the same. Prepare handy notes of all key concepts, formulae, chemical reactions. So let's say I talk about light, okay, reflection and refraction. So when you are done with the chapter, note down. So on a small sheet of paper, note down the formulas that you have studied in the chapter. Okay, stick it somewhere near your study table, in your room, in your wall, on your wall, sorry, somewhere where you will see it, for the rest of the days until your examination. Mental fatigue and sleep loss. Okay. All right. So, Rohan, eat proper food, drink enough water. Okay. Until and unless your body is fit and fine. Okay. Your body is not fatigued. You have slept properly. You will not be able to concentrate on the subject. Okay, so let's say if you have slept properly and you are taking 1 hour to study a particular concept, to revise a particular subject, when your body is tired, it's going to take approximately 2.5 hours, right? So you'll be just wasting your time. So do not, again I'm saying, do not consider board examinations as the ultimate challenge that you're going to face. This is the first obstacle that's there to until your to your road to success. So you all are going to do very well in your life, but it's just a first step. Okay, so you have come so far, you have passed all your examinations still since until class 9th, you're going to do well here also. Okay, so please remember, there should be no mental fatigue. Do not be afraid of giving an examination. You have been giving exams in your schools, right? So it's just going to be a school examination. That's it. Do not worry about, do not worry too much about board examination. Yes, Harshit, did previous year questions come in exam? See, Harshit, it depends on the examiner who has made the question paper. Previous year questions do come, they get repeated, but there may be a change in, let's say, values in the numericals. For conceptual questions, obviously, for example, if I say renewable forms of energy, so solar energy, you're going to have the same question only, right? How to handle stress? So, okay, Mohit, after this webinar, do one thing. Sit back and understand what makes you happy. First of all, what makes you happy? Does eating food make you happy? Does playing cricket make you happy? Does playing football, playing a guitar makes you happy? Do that first. Okay, so whenever you feel stressed, do that thing. All right, to avoid silly mistakes, Anjali, I told you, practice questions. Okay, practice questions by writing them down, by writing the answers down. Then you're not going to make silly mistakes. Practice will make you perfect. It's an old saying, but it still applies in the real world. Okay, all right. Next is, as somebody asked me, chemistry is all about reactions, so practice them on a daily basis. Practice, 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 and you're going to get it. How to remember the chemical equations? All right, first of all, Manju, go through all the chemical reactions that are given in NCERT. All right. At least those reactions you should be thorough with. All right. Even the balancing part. Okay. So write down all the reactions chapter wise which are given in your NCERT. Be thorough with them. All right. Next thing is, if there is a question, there is an equation that you have not heard of. Okay. Then, as I told you, remember the atomic numbers, and you'll be able to justify the products formed. Okay. All right. Next is, Tushar, how to manage time during preparation leaves. Yes. So for your science exam, you have an exam on 12th. On 12th, then you will have your science exam on 16th, right? So you have 13th, 14th, and 15th as your preparatory leaves. So as soon as your board exams start, you must have been done with all your sample papers, all your model test papers, right? And you would have prepared your preparatory notes, your formulae, your chemical reactions, your equations, everything, right? So for the 3 days that you have, 3-day holidays or preparatory leaves that you have 3 subjects: physics, chemistry, and biology. So on the first day, do that subject whichever portion you feel very much comfortable and you're confident enough. So finish that off. All right. Go through NCERT, read NCERT again, go through your notes, and go through the questions that have come in. Just questions. All right. On the second day, make sure you complete your weak areas. Okay, whichever weak areas you feel you're not able to mug up, you're not able to do the numericals, spend as much time. Spend the whole day on your weak areas there. On the last moment, I'm telling you. And on the last day, make sure you do not stay up the whole night. That is 15th night. Do not stay up. On the 15th night, practice all the diagrams very carefully. Practice all chemical reactions very carefully. So even if you have drawn a ray diagram for 20 times, make it for the 21st time. All right, do it. All right. Next is, on the 15th night, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock in the evening, leave your books aside. You have prepared as much as you could, and you know your subject. Just appear for the exam. Have a good night's sleep. get up in the morning and appear for the exam. How to avoid sleep? Okay, somebody is not getting sleep and Harshit. Okay, how to avoid sleep? Whenever you feel sleepy, I told you, just do something you like and then sit back to study. What we can do at morning for fresh mood for study? Okay, if you believe in meditation, go for meditation. Go for a walk. Go for a walk in a park. That lightens my mood. Okay, I think it'll lighten your mood also. Go for cycling in the morning. Come back, take a bath, and sit down to study. In drawing ray diagrams after solving the numerical. Okay, all right. So Saida, what you can do is, all right. So this is basically a conceptual doubt that we have. So I'm going to take up physics on Saturday. So tomorrow I'll be talking about chemistry. I'll be taking up questions on chemistry and biology. All right. On Saturday, I'll be taking up questions on biology as well as physics. All right. So this query I'm going to remember, Saida, and I expect you to be there and I'm going to solve. Okay. I'm going to teach you and explain you how you can understand the ray diagrams. All right. Okay. So do not take biology easy, everyone. Again, I'm telling you, it may seem a theoretical subject, but rote learning will not help you. You have to understand the concepts. So score your best in the exam. Diagrams, again, they can turn the tables in board examination. Make beautiful diagrams. You will get all your marks. Okay, pay special attention to them. Most important. So everyone, most of the doubts, most of the queries that I'm facing, keep calm, have confidence on your preparation, keep all the negative thoughts aside. What's the worst that can come? Just think about that. You have done your preparation, and I believe all of you are set and ready for the board examination. These are the past 10 days that you need to put little extra efforts. Just plan your 10 days. So after this webinar, one thing that I've told you to do is analyze what makes you happy. The next thing is make a timetable for the next 10 days. All right, make a timetable, make sure you follow it. From today itself, from tonight itself, you need to follow the timetable. Next is take balanced, nutritious diet to remain healthy. Take proper sleep, maintain your study plan, right? Okay, so after the webinar, go to this, go through the list of questions that we have prepared. Any queries that you have, any questions that you're not able to understand, you can ask me from tomorrow onwards. All right, and I'll be very happy to take up your doubts. Apart from these top 100 questions, if you're not able to understand a concept, you can very well ask me tomorrow. We will get our doubts sorted. Last is, all the best to all of you for your board examinations. I expect all of you to be there tomorrow in the webinar for science, for social science, and for mathematics. Right? All the very best to all of you. Bye-bye, guys. I'll see you tomorrow.